I'm Angelica Apel with Compass in Denver, Colorado. And today I'm here with Matthew Hibler from Guaranteed Rate.
Hi, Angelica. Thanks for having me. Of
Thanks for being with me today.
course.
We are undoubtedly inundated with news and information every day, all the time, about everything. I thought it would be best for you to help us cut through the noise. What is the most important points that you can give us about mortgages today?
Well, mortgage rates have come down. Let's start with rates. I think that's
Yes.
the most interesting piece anyway.
Yes.
Mortgage rates are now the lowest level they've been in over a year and a half.
It's a huge deal.
And boy, have we been patient, haven't
Oh, it's been a long time coming.
we? 3 years since mortgage rates of 3% started to move upward. And so here we are today. As of the week ending last week, here we are mid-September, the average 30-year fixed rate mortgage was about 6.25% APR, which is a huge improvement, seeing as how about a year and a half ago, we were around 8%.
Wow. And that's something that I think people are quick to forget,
Yes.
that we've had a huge improvement and how big of a deal that is, that's the 6.25 is a huge difference from 8.
Yes. And if you look at the last 40 plus years, the averages are higher than that.
Right.
So in my opinion, low sixes is good territory.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So with that, there's a lot of action and activity. People that have been waiting around to make a housing change, whatever that might be for, family need, schooling, different part of town, work, job, whatever. There's a lot of people now that are surfacing to revisit the conversation around mortgages because of interest rate.
Are you seeing an increase in your applications?
Yes, recently. So a lot of news and media has created momentum with mortgage rates, including the fact that the Federal Reserve just cut the short-term interest rate benchmark last week. The Fed funds rate came down. Mortgage rates had priced that in advance of the Fed cutting rates. And
Does the
that's
Fed impact the mortgage rate directly?
so
Just to be clear for people.
it's an interesting answer that I have to give. Technically, no, not directly, but there is some influence based on what their fiscal monetary policy is. So there's a little influence, but it's not directly impactful as most people might assume.
Okay. I think that's an important point for people to understand. I feel like a lot of people are watching the Fed meeting and expecting that it was going to be that rates were going to go down based upon that Fed meeting.
That's right. And it's confusing because home equity lines of credit are directly correlated to the Fed funds rate. Home equity line rates came down right away. Mortgage rates had built in the short-term Fed funds rate improvement in advance of the cut happening.
That's helpful information. Now, with your increase in applications down the line, downstream, to me as a realtor, that means that we will see more of an influx in purchases, which could change our marketplace right now because we are in, I would say, a sweet spot where there's still a lot of advantages to buyers due to the rate and due to the fact that sellers will, in a lot of instances, not every, will still help a buyer to buy their rate down.
Yeah, it's been so interesting. So this is generally speaking. In the last few weeks, we have been able to negotiate really nice seller closing cost credits. And with those credits, we buy the interest rate down permanently for the new mortgage of the buyer. Interest rates being locked at 5.75, sometimes lower permanently with that seller credit that we're using.
That's a huge deal and something that buyers really need to understand that is available now. Will it be available with a huge influx of purchasers? That becomes questionable because that is where our market becomes more competitive once again. Right now, it's really important for buyers to understand that we are in a sweet spot where you can still create a huge advantage for yourself with seller concessions.
Right. And the story doesn't just end with the interest rate. It's where we grab attention. But really what it is we put a lot of expertise into the mortgages that we create for those looking to buy a new home. And that boils down to responsibly rebuilding budgets. The family budget is everything right now. Inflation has taken its toll the last couple of years. Everything's been more expensive. More debt generally is out there in the marketplace. And so, we're spending more time. The days of calling a mortgage lender and getting a pre-approval in 10 minutes, those are gone. That was easy to conduct yourself that way when the mortgage rate was in the 2s and the 3s.
Absolutely.
Today, it takes a responsible approach to a family's finances to then get them into a home responsibly. So we're spending the extra time, providing the extra care, and reshaping families' budgets so that they can make the new mortgage payment affordable. Of course, the housing prices are up too. And most people that call me, whether they're buying their 5th house or their 1st house, they all have the same concern. How am I going to make this new interest rate and new price of the real estate affordable for me? That's where we lean in and we spend more time. So what am I trying to say with that? Show patience, create a block of time when you talk to me as a mortgage professional so that we can go through all of your details. We're going to rebuild a budget. We're going to make the house payment more affordable. And we're going to share ideas. The family has goals and ideas. I have ideas to share with them through my many years of experience. And we're going to formulate a plan so that the house is more affordable.
That is what I admire about you as a mortgage professional, is that you do take a 30,000 foot look and then zero in. You do help people to have a strategy to deal with their entire financial picture, their savings, their debt, and their mortgage, which is a huge factor, especially today. Like you said, it's a different thing when the rates were much lower, and that is a time gone by and it's not coming back. We are where we are, and it is very important, and in many respects, most responsible of an approach to look at someone's whole financial picture so that you can really create the best outcome for the buyer. So that's huge.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Angelica. And for those listening, should you ever have these ideas around new housing, but you've had thoughts behind that privately of like, oh gosh, this is just so stressful or such a joke. Why would I look at 5% rates or 6% rates at a house of $1 million+? Take the time to do it. I've seen so many people in those aha moments, or the light bulb goes off because we take their ideas and concept and we put it into this very logical, let's call it the spreadsheet or the financial model. And people go, oh, that's how people are doing it in the market today. I can adopt that practice and buy my new home. Thank you so much for the information. I hadn't seen that before. That's where the special moments happen.
Indeed. And to summarize, it is also, I think people don't realize how much debt can be refinanced through this process of purchasing, moving up, buying your first home. A lot of people are carrying credit card debt. A lot of people are carrying car loans. A lot of people are carrying debt that is weighing them down. And this is most important for move up buyers. You have equity in your home. You can reshape that debt picture to be into one mortgage payment versus 10 other payments to other creditors.
That's a wonderful point to make, and something to bring up too. There is a lot of confusion in the marketplace generally. And people ask me, I thought I had to roll my equity from my house sale forward to the next house, meaning they don't understand the freedom they have with the equity they're sitting on. When it's your primary residence, there are some guardrails as far as how much is not taxed.
Right.
But you have total freedom if you sell your home and come away with a chunk of money, relatively speaking, because like I said, there's guardrails. You have freedom to spend some of that money on paying off debt, maybe even use some of the cash to improve the new house you're buying.
Yes.
And then the rest of it can be put down on the mortgage with very little to no tax consequence. And it's a misconception out there.
Bottom line here is that buyers have a lot of options, and it's important to consult with a professional. Call us today, and we are happy to spend the time consulting with you to shape your financial and real estate picture